This city tells the church it will lose religious designation because it shelters homeless people. It's by John Vibe's Mind Unleash. The order from the city of Cleveland was posted on the door of the church on Christmas Eve. It houses about 30 to 40 people every single night who otherwise would have to sleep out in the streets in the cold. And obviously, the city wants the area that has been changed, the use change for housing people. They have to have the proper fire alarms, fire extinguishers, things that are for the safety of the people. There are so many. Can you imagine what happens if something unforeseen happens, like a fire breaks out, and you have victims from that fire in this church? That would be devastating. So this is what happened earlier this week on Christmas Eve. An order from the city of Cleveland was posted on the door of the Denison Avenue United Church of Christ. They demanded that they kick out the homeless people that they have been allowing to sleep on their property or face losing their status with the city as a religious organization, a church that is. So I'm sure that the church will do as much as they can in the next 7 days to change that classification to be able to house the people. Now, the order came from the Cleveland Division of Fire, citing code violations that they claim are dangerous for the inhabitants. The city is following the letter of the law in this case, suggesting that it is illegal to change the official use of the building without first filling out the required paperwork and making significant changes to the property. And I'm sure they will do that, I'm sure. Now, according to the city's building department, for the church to give shelter to homeless people, they would need to go through a costly process of not only updating the building, but also getting the required permits and licenses that would designate the building as a homeless shelter. Pastor Nozomi Ikuta has promised to appeal the ruling, saying that the church has been battling the city for months over the right to help the homeless. Quote, according to the city, it is improper for us to allow the Metanoia project to use our buildings to provide overnight hospitality. They're telling us to apply to change the use of our building from church to a shelter, Ikuta said. Now, Ikuta said that the church is happy to make changes to their building to make it safer, but she does not believe that the church should have to change its designated purpose. Well, of course not. It's a big building. There's a video here if you'd like to see. It's a huge building, and it's got various floors attached to the church. So obviously you can have reading rooms, you can have a dormitory, you can have kitchens for feeding people. It's a huge building. You can use various sections of it for various things. So she said, the essence is this forces us to choose between our identity as a church and helping homeless people. We want to work with the fire department to resolve any concerns it might have, but we don't think that we should have to stop being a church just so we can help keep people off the streets. And she's right, obviously. Now, among the changes that are required by the fire department are updates to the building's fire alarm system, adding fire extinguishers and exit signs, along with fire sprinklers and other safety measures. Local homeless advocates have urged that it is more dangerous to keep these people out of the streets than it is to house them in a building that may not be entirely up to code. 6 people have frozen to death over the past few years, and the unsheltered homeless population continues to rise. NEOCH Executive Director Chris Nestrick told The Scene. So obviously I hope that they will figure this out so they could have their church and also have the dormitory for the homeless to keep them warm and safe and feed them and help them in every way they can. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. and we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.